In a quiet town stood a large and beautiful house, known by everyone as the home of a very wealthy man. He had worked hard all his life, starting from nothing and slowly building his fortune through honesty, patience, and wisdom. Though he had money, he was not proud. He believed that respect was earned by good character, not by riches. People in the town admired him, not because of his wealth, but because of his calm spirit and kind heart. The man lived with his only son, who had recently married a young woman from a humble background. After the marriage, the son brought his wife into his father's house, where she was introduced to a life of comfort she had never known before. Fine clothes, good food, servants, and praise surrounded her daily. At first, she appeared grateful and respectful, always smiling when visitors were present. However, as days passed, the rich man began to notice small things. He saw how his daughter-in-law spoke gently to wealthy guests, but became impatient with servants. He observed how she avoided poor people who came near the gate and complained whenever they disturbed her peace. When food was plenty, she wasted it without thought, yet she never considered sharing it with those in need. The rich man said nothing at first. He simply watched and listened. His heart grew heavy as he remembered his own past, when a single act of kindness from a stranger had once saved him during a time of hunger. He began to wonder whether his daughter-in-law truly understood the value of humanity or whether wealth had blinded her heart. One evening, as he sat alone in his room, the rich man sighed deeply. He realized that silence would not reveal the truth. He needed to know who his daughter-in-law really was when wealth, comfort, and recognition were taken away. As the night grew quiet, a serious decision formed in his mind, a decision that would soon change everything. Rich man did not sleep well that night. His mind kept returning to the same troubling thoughts. He lay on his bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the quiet sounds of the house, and thinking deeply about what he had seen over the past months. The comfort in his home felt heavy, almost meaningless, because he knew that wealth without kindness could destroy a family from within. As morning came, he rose early and walked slowly through his house. He passed the servants preparing breakfast and greeted them politely, as he always did. Some smiled back with respect, but he noticed how his daughter-in-law barely acknowledged them as she gave instructions from a distance. Her voice was sharp, her patience thin, and her eyes more focused on herself than on the people serving her. The rich man stepped outside into the compound and sat under a tree where he often reflected. His thoughts drifted back many years to a time when he himself had been poor. He remembered walking long distances with empty pockets, hungry and tired, and how one day a stranger had shared food with him without asking for anything in return. That small act of mercy had given him strength and hope, and it had shaped the man he later became. As he sat there, he asked himself a painful question. If my daughter-in-law met me during those days of my poverty, how would she have treated me? The answer frightened him. Everything he had observed suggested that she respected wealth, not people. She loved comfort, not character. And worst of all, she seemed unaware of it. Later that day, he watched her from a distance as a poor woman passed near the gate asking for help. Instead of offering kindness, his daughter-in-law frowned, complained that beggars were increasing, and ordered the gate closed. The poor woman walked away quietly, and the rich man felt a deep ache in his chest. At that moment, his doubt turned into certainty. He knew that confronting her directly would only bring excuses and anger. Words alone would not reveal the truth. What was needed was an experience, one that would remove titles, wealth, and appearances, and expose the heart beneath them all. The decision he had felt forming the previous night now became clear and firm. That evening, he called his son briefly and spoke of ordinary matters, careful not to reveal his plan. Then, alone in his room, he opened an old wooden box where he kept memories of his past. Inside were worn clothes, faded sandals, and a walking stick from his days of struggle. He held them quietly in his hands, his heart steady but heavy. Looking at those old items, the rich man made up his mind. He would become what his daughter-in-law despised most, a poor beggar. Only then would he truly know the kind of woman his son had married. As the sun set and darkness filled the sky, the test was no longer just an idea. It had become a path he was ready to walk.